the videos where I talk about things. And there's obviously a lot to talk about. It is November, what is it, the 7th? Wow, November 7th, 2024. So obviously 2 days ago, there was that election in the U.S. Kind of a historic election, right? Whatever side you're on, whether outside of the people who are happy about who won or the people who are not, right? Either way, it was historic in many ways, and certainly one for the history books, right? Kind of a memorable, staggering, and incredible in many ways. If you look at some of the statistics, some of the different groups that gave support to the different candidates, the kind of unexpected wins that happened up and down the ballot. But obviously at the top was the most impressive in many ways. Lots of terrible memes as usual, as I'm seeing. A lot of the usual, disgusting things people are saying about the other candidate that they didn't want. It's gross. I wish people would stop that. But that's where American political culture has descended to, in large part thanks to social media. And it's really not, yes, it's more than that, but it really is a lot of social media. Like, anyone can easily make memes. Anyone can spout off a disgusting voice or opinion. Anyone can share that disgusting voice or opinion. And it can be, shared and reshared by others and get, lots of exposure really quickly. And the more obnoxious it is, the faster it tends to do that. Which is a lot of the reason why we see virality for things that are, that may even seem funny on the surface. But when you scratch the surface, you realize there's a lot of darkness there. It comes from a very bad place. And a lot of that is in the world of memes, actually. A lot of it. People don't even know that many of the memes, a huge chunk of the memes they share have a very, very, very dark history. But that's okay. I guess if they're ignorant to it and they don't actually know that they're doing it, then it's not quite the same as if they are doing it with intention and knowledge of the darkness they're sharing. But, that's how it goes. So why am I talking about all this stuff when I'm supposed to be talking about Bitcoin? Hello, can I get a shout out? Yes, get a shout out. Deontay Vincent. Hello, Deontay. Welcome. Is that how you pronounce it? Deontay? Or is it Deontay or Deant? I don't know. It looks like Deontay Vincent. Anyway, welcome to the show. So what was I saying? Basically, right? If you're looking at this video and you're wondering why am I talking about the dark history of memes, when the title of the video has to do with Bitcoin, right? And the president and crypto bros and the VEPS. Well, all those things are kind of connected, really. Right, so let's get into it. Bitcoin comes from a place of cypherpunk culture. Cypherpunk culture is a pretty well distributed culture across many different ideologies, where people have different ideologies. But for the most part, they do have certain commonalities in their thinking, right? In the cypherpunk view, right? That the digital space is a space where, using ciphers, using cryptography, we should be able to secure and unsecure information, send and retrieve information in a secured way or an unsecured way. That comes from there. So they view tech as kind of like, I say late because even though I spent a lot of years as a cypherpunk or whatever, I wouldn't consider myself a true and proper cypherpunk to the nth degree, because my programming skills, I would say, are not at that level. I spent a lot of time in that culture, or whatever, especially around the years before Bitcoin existed and around the time Bitcoin was created and after that. But even that, even just the culture of it, you could see there's some very funny cypherpunk memes. Even there's some dark ones, but I would say pretty much they come from a fairly bright place, or a place of goodness and good intentions. Not by all. There's definitely some people in the cypherpunk space who don't always have the best intentions. But in the Bitcoin space, that shifted a lot over time after the invention and distribution of Bitcoin and the initial traction it gained, especially among certain groups of people who love sharing memes and are crypto bros, and they don't understand necessarily the tech or the ideology behind cryptography, let alone cryptocurrency. They just see number go up. That's all they care about. And they come from a place where their lack of education in cryptography and cryptocurrency development and software development very often is coupled with a very strong cultural kick and strong education in culture that isn't necessarily from a good place. Now, you might argue, well, everybody's free to have their own individual expression. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. All right. But Bitcoin's expression as a cultural phenomenon has had a very strong streak of cultural influence from people who are clearly just not well intentioned. And honestly, it does not do good for the perception of crypto from people outside of the space. Now, do I think that generally affects things like the price? Or no, of course not. The value of crypto? No, not at all. It's just that it happens to appeal to certain types of people for various reasons, especially in the earlier days. Those will be the people who will see a reason for using it faster than kind of normies, if you want to call them that. Statistically, more normal people within the first standard deviation of distribution. Okay. Eventually, the normies get there, because eventually the normies see that there's a value for them too. Right? But it'll always be the outliers that'll glom onto new tech first. Like almost always that happens. Right? Because it's a little bit rebellious to use a new tech. A little bit edgy, a little bit cool. You gotta be a bit aware of things that are different and changing. Right? Normies typically don't. And they like that. They're comfy finding out later and getting in, jumping on the bandwagon when it's already the bandwagon, so to speak. So again, that's not to criticize or bash any particular segment of the population in any way. It's to point things out with observations. In the same way, I'm going to point out the observation that 2 days ago, when we saw the big Bitcoin rally, and I said it very clearly. We said it during the live stream. We said it after. We said it yesterday again. Was that rally really driven by the fact that crypto bros were excited that Bitcoin was about to have its first Bitcoin, friendly president? At least so he says, right? So in the last several months, since like July. Or was it the VEPS? Well, I don't think you need to be a genius to realize that it was the VEPS. Okay? You just need to know about the VEPS, and you need to understand that is what always moves the markets. Okay? What moves the markets is not the news, not the headlines. Those news and headlines are just noise that are made to distract and to fill in narrative space between the ads. After all, publishers' jobs are basically to distribute advertising, and they do it by running ads with various select content interspersed between the ads. All the stories they publish are really just space filler between the ads. I don't know what's happening here, but definitely some kind of a construction project. It looks like, I don't know, sewage pipes are being moved into place, but in a very strange way. Let's see. I sure hope they're not about to build a big road here, because if they do that, if they build a big road here, it's going to make a lot of noise. They're already making a lot of noise. If they connect this road all the way up there, boy, that, well, it would definitely give me reason to seek certain changes. Anyway, yeah. So, Bitcoin. Now that you know that the reason it pumped from whatever it was, 68, 69K, up to 75K, and then kind of stayed around there before pumping up to 76 a little bit and pulling back into 75 eventually. Why is it doing that? Well, if you look at the VEPS, you'll see that there are mean reversions to the downside. Yeah, they're certainly possible. It could easily tap 69, 70K, but now the central daily range has moved to the upside some more. So it doesn't have to go all the way down there. And it could certainly keep going to the upside. I haven't looked at the chart in the last hour, so I really don't know what's going on. But in terms of giving you a precise analysis of the VEPS in this moment. But overall, there could certainly be distributions, and there are going to be distributions of mean reversions because that's all returns do. It's going to continue going up and down. You need to understand how to use the VEPS tools if you want to trade an asset like Bitcoin. Because if you don't, you will easily end up one of those people who, gets wrecked because you took a leveraged position in a market you thought can only go up. And then it does like a little pullback. Like yesterday we saw, I think it was like $16 million were added to the liquidations in a matter of 15 minutes just on Bitcoin because of a 1% move to the downside in a 15-minute candle. A 1% move liquidated $16 million worth of assets. Think about that. Think about how over leveraged you have to be, right, to get wrecked on a 1% move. You're basically 100xing, right, or 90xing, 95xing, and then they've got the service fee on top of that. If you were smart enough to even run like a limit order, in most cases, people running like a taker order. So, like even 70x probably gets you wrecked, right? But no, there's people who are like taking out 100x and they get wrecked within the 15-minute candle. Not even kind of hits the low, but by the time it goes like halfway on a 1% move. This is crazy. It's crazy what people will do to lose money. If you think it's volatile now, what do you think it's going to be like when it gets to 100K, 150K, 200K? What do you think it's going to be like when it moves percent then, right? People are losing so much more every trade, right? Because they have no idea how to manage their risk. That's why. So I would recommend not doing that. I recommend not putting all your risk on the asset that is so volatile. It's literally the world's most volatile asset historically in terms of trading. And I would learn to trade the VEPS, which is free from Alpha Trading. Just go to alphatradinghq.com/discord. Just go there, learn for free, get the tools for free. If you want to get the paid tools at some point, you can certainly buy them. You even have a 2-week free trial if you want. Anyway, that's going to do it. And remember, the live streams for Alpha Trading, they start at 9 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Okay, folks, that's it. Happy trading. Cheers.